50-50 partnerships. What does that mean? 50-50 partnerships. So we're going to try to break this down and see why people use this terminology and to see if it even makes sense, right? So the first thing that I think of when I hear partnership are same-sex marriages. The reason is because 50-50 in partnership means that there's already a word for two people getting together, and that is marriage, right? So why would I have to say a partnership? Like that just does not make sense to me. But 50-50, I think, is more on each person is the same and they're giving the exact same 50-50. But how can that be the same with two people that biologically aren't the same? If you are going to make the statement that you're not going to have children, then maybe. But even thinking about it just biologically first, men and women act different. They have different hormonal imbalances. Their emotions are different. So the 50-50 same is not going to work. I believe that. And it's just something that's recently come up. Like, why have we started saying this, that we need 50-50? Because most of it comes to money, because money is control for most people. But I really don't think so. As long as you have the freedom and the commitment, marriage is already made to be totally one-sided for women. If you get married to a man or anybody, if you have children, then you automatically get money from that person. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You come into a relationship, a marriage, you get married, everything is split 50-50, right? So it's more of a control aspect. And if you're going to go ahead and knock that out of the way, um, these relationships that you get into, I would just from the bat figure out where the mindset of that person that you're going to get in a relationship is. If you are a woman and you're looking at a man and he's like, "Oh, I like 50-50 relationships," that right there should be a red flag. The reason why is because that means that he basically wants a partnership. He wants someone that is the exact same as him, giving 50%. So, and then if you look for a woman that wants 50-50, that is a more aggressive woman. And if that's what you want, if you want someone to bring exactly what you're bringing and you want to build a life with that person, that's fine. And then you think right now because you're young that you don't want children, then go ahead. Like good, go for that partnership. But a partnership sounds great for a business or for a friendship, but for the person that you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with and possibly that you could accidentally have children with, the last thing you want is a partnership. You want a marriage. Partnership should be out the window. Whatever that person is good at, why not let them be good at it? It doesn't have to be 50-50 across the board. If one person is better at one thing, let them do it, male or female. It should just be like that. It shouldn't just be like we are all the same. Like the whole thought of everybody being the same and they could bring 50-50, I guarantee you can't find a relationship where people bring exactly the same. They have the same capabilities and just the same experience to give 50-50. It is impossible. So these people that are preaching for those partnerships are just crazy. They are caught up in this mindset that once you start understanding that you are being controlled on a level that is like crazy, like conspiracy level, that these words and terms are just pushed into life that now I have to even say like, oh yeah, like it's a partner. Like sometimes I catch myself saying terms that are stupid or they're so chaotic because that's what is pushed and people are pushing this to do a certain thing. It really is. Just think about it. It does not make sense. Wouldn't it be more healthy instead of a 50-50 relationship, meeting somebody, loving them, seeing what capabilities that person has and what would be the best for your marriage. It doesn't matter what how it's split up, but if you walk in and say this is how it's going to be 50-50 from each of us, that puts an unduly stress on one person and it makes the other one frustrated because they can do it better. So 50-50 relationships are the stupidest thing I I've ever heard. And if you're married and you are a man married to a woman and your wife is saying that you have a 50-50 relationship, you just need to you just need to talk to her and let her understand that that's not what it is. She could be great at finances. There are women that are smarter than men that are great with finances. It can happen, that are better with the budget. So she should have more than 50% of that responsibility. If you haven't given a fuck about your life and you've just been spent all your money as a man, and you get into a relationship with a woman who is frugal, who has a good budget and can invest and like take care of you financially, then guess what? She should have more than 50% of that say. And that goes with everything across the board. Is it 50-50 on protection? Like, ah, nah, I took care of the robber yesterday. You got him today, baby. Like, it's wild. It doesn't make any sense. It's all that how it should be and not how it is. And the more that you look at the world of how it should be and not reality, the worse things are going to be for you. You and your marriage, not your partnership, and your family and everything else that goes into it. If you aren't looking at actual real outcomes, then you will fail. And that 50-50 relationship will not be the first thing that it won't be the first thing, it won't be the last thing that you mess up. So get out of this thinking that 50-50 is a thing that makes sense. Only if you are completely on the same level where it's like we aren't going to have children. We are going to bring exactly 50-50 to this relationship. Emotionally, if you get too crazy on one end, I have the right to walk away until you become better and get back to that 50-50 equilibrium. Everything should be equal 100%. That you make sure that it's not hurting you in any other way. So that doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. You have to, if it's truly a 50-50 relationship, then anything that is out of the norm, even if it's biological or just experience driven, you can be like, I have the right to walk away until you come back to this 50-50 relationship that we started. And if it's not like that, then you don't have a 50-50 relationship. You're just a moron. 100%. And if you are a man and a woman, you haven't talked about this, then you don't have a 50-50 relationship. And especially if you've been married for like years, and then your wife sits you down and says, I want a 50-50 relationship. Then it would be easy to explain why it's so idiotic and be like, okay, so together in our partnership, which is really a marriage, we make this much. I make way more, so I'm going to cut down and you're going to start working more. Start with that. And then everything else. But on the same note, on that flip side, if you've been married for a while and you're kind of helping out 50-50 with like you're helping her out around the house and stuff, that is 100% okay. Like I always say, if you come into a relationship and you haven't started with these boundaries and how things are, then you have to deal with it, and you can fix it if it makes sense. But if you're stuck into a spot where you're already doing this 50-50 stuff, then there's nothing you can do about it unless you want to change your role as a leadership or as a leader. And then that takes a lot of time, and it's just nitpicking at the end. There should be roles in place, and at times things are going to ebb and flow. Like if you're working really hard for a couple of years, or you have a contract or an assignment or whatever that makes you go out all the time, then you're not going to be doing as much. But when you're there, just do what makes sense. And that's what that's what a marriage is. It is things that make sense to make the person that you love and the people that you create better. That's 100% how it is. But this 50-50 mentality is it's it's horrible. And we will see in the future of how that goes. Like it it does not make sense. But if it makes sense and you have it fair across the board, go for it. You can have that partnership if you want. You can date and fall in love and get a commitment and be married to someone who is exactly like you. That brings exactly what you bring, if that's what you want. Sounds horrible to me, but you know, time will tell.